How would you like to have absolutely the most amount of distance that you can? How would you like to boom those drives way down the fairway, 20 or 30 yards past your friends? We'd all love to do that. And that's what this video is going to be about, getting the most, what we call smash factor, and the most distance out of your drives. So we're going to talk about how to speed up your swing speed, which is one of the most important things of smash factor, which I'll get into here in a minute. We're also going to talk about how you get more ball speed, or how you can maximize the amount of speed the ball comes off the face, given whatever your swing speed is. So if we can swing faster and get the ball leaving the face faster, that's going to give us the highest smash factor and the absolute most distance that we can get. I'm going over all that in this video and give you some great drills to incorporate that into your game. Let's go ahead and get started. Make sure you hit that subscribe button down below. I got a ton of great content coming out for you this year. You don't want to miss out on those, and you're only going to get notified when we release new videos if you're a subscriber. So hit that button now. Click the thumbs up, the like button, that always helps us out. And if you have any questions or comments, post them down below. I would love to hear from you. All right, so in this video, this is a series, you probably noticed a few videos I've been doing lately have gone over my Flightscope X3 radar. We're talking about what this machine can do. It's a pretty high-tech piece of equipment. One of those will run you about $18,000, so it's pretty high-tech there. And it's going to shoot out what's called electromagnetic waves. They're basically a bunch of high-speed waves. It's a radar machine. And it's going to bounce through, whenever I'm swinging this club, as I'm coming down to contact, it's going to bounce all those waves off my head. It tracks how fast this club head's moving, which directions it's moving, how much loft I have on the face. And then when we hit the ball, it's tracking how fast the ball is leaving the face, at what angle, how much spin, the direction, all that cool stuff that's almost impossible to see with the naked eye. Now we're going to go over smash factor in this video, which is something that it calculates for you, which is how efficiently you transfer your swing speed to the ball and how fast that ball leaves. And we're talk about a few factors that you can control to get the most out of that. So if I want to hit it the farthest, I need to do these things right, and that's what I'm going to go over in this video here. So first, let's go over the three factors that come into smash factor, which would be your club head speed, your ball speed, and then the calculation itself comes from how well you contact. So club head speed, ball speed, and contact. Now, smash factor basically just means it's a perfect smash factor. So the perfect amount of energy transfer is 1.5 times your club head speed. So if I swing 100 miles an hour, my club head is moving 100 miles an hour. If I hit the ball absolutely dead solid, transfer as much energy into the ball as I can, my ball is going to leave 1.5 times faster than that. So 150 miles an hour on a 100 mile an hour swing speed. Now if you only had 50 miles an hour, so if I swung this club really easy and I transferred all the energy that I could into that ball, it's going to leave again at 1.5 times that. So if I swing 50 miles an hour, the fastest that ball can leave is 75 miles an hour. If you swing way faster than that, then it's going to go up. So it's a 1.5 times your swing speed would be ideal. So there's a few things that go into this, and I'm going to show you what the machine spits out for me and how it tells me if I'm more efficient than this. Now, the number one thing this machine does is it shoots those waves out and bounces off this club face, and it actually tracks the dead center of my club. So inside the club head is tracking how that's moving. This is important because we'll get to this later, how contact affects this, but if I'm looking at the heel of my club, as your club face releases through contact, so as I'm hitting through contact, the toe of the club is releasing a little faster than the heel of the club. And if you measure this, on average, the toe or the heel is moving about 10 to 14 miles an hour slower than the toe is moving as you're hitting the ball. So if I'm swinging 100 miles an hour in the middle of the club head, if I hit way over here off the heel, I'm actually swinging quite a bit slower than that. I may be swinging 93 miles an hour over here on the heel because the heel isn't releasing as fast, or 107 out here on the toe. So depending on where you hit on the face, that's moving at different speeds. This is very important when we're talking about where I want to contact the ball and why we want to contact more toward the toe side, which I'll get to in a little bit. So if we look at that on this swing that I did earlier, we'll see that on this particular swing, I swung 114 miles an hour, 114.5. I hit this one right dead in the middle of the club head. So I hit this really, really nice and solid. As you can see on the screen, I used some Dr. Scholl's Odor-X foot spray powder to spray on the face. So you can see that I really hit that one nice and solid. And the ball left at with a ball speed of 166 miles an hour. And a smash factor, remember 1.5 is perfect, the smash factor was only 1.45, so not quite perfect. But there's a couple things that go into this. So we talked about the club head speed. What else determines the ball speed? So obviously the faster I swing, the more ball speed I get, the higher ball speed I can get and the better smash factor. The ball itself is going to determine some of this too. So if I'm using a range ball, here we have a Pinnacle practice ball or just a regular labeled practice ball. I have tested these range balls, all kinds of different range balls over the years, and I found even if you hit these dead solid perfect, they're not going to ever get to that 1.5 smash factor. And the reason is these balls aren't as hot or as live as a top brand, a premium golf ball. So even if you hit it perfect, that ball isn't going to compress as well and jump off the face as hot. So why does this matter? Well, if I'm at the driving range and I'm hitting to a 150-yard marker and I have my club that I normally hit 150 and I'm using a range ball, it's not going to go 150. So don't be worried if it's only going 140. Don't worry about your distances you're hitting on the range. Mostly you're worried about how solid you're hitting the ball and if it's going nice and straight the direction that you want to, but you're never going to get a range ball to go as far as a premium golf ball. So if you're on the range, don't worry as much about your distance as you are about how solid you're hitting the golf ball. So we've talked about the ball speed. If I want to get the most ball speed possible, obviously my club head speed has to go up higher, but I also want to hit either in the dead center of the club face, or what's going to go even faster than that. Remember I talked about the toe moving a little faster, is a little bit off to the right of that. So slightly off the right of the toe of the club head, maybe a 1/4 inch off the toe toward the toe side, and a little bit higher on the face is going to help it to launch higher and get a little bit less spin on there. So those are the three factors. Basically, if I boil it down and make it as simple as possible, I want to swing as fast as I can, I want to create as much ball speed as I can, and I'm going to do that by hitting either in the center of the club face, which is okay, or if you really want to get the most out of this, hit a little bit off the toe and a little bit higher. So swing as fast as I can, hit a little bit high off the toe, and that's going to make everything really easy when we're doing this. So now, let me go ahead and hit a couple shots here. I want to talk about what happens when you hit off the heel and the toe and how to fix that, and also how to get the most swing speed so you really get the most distance for yourself. All right, so let's get to it. How are we going to increase our club head speed? One of the most important things that I see players doing is decelerating as they're coming through the shot, not getting that club to really speed up as they're hitting the golf ball. And I think a lot of this comes from trying to hit the golf ball itself instead of trying to release through the golf ball and to come to our good full finish. And I have a great drill that I'm going to walk you through showing the maximum amount of club head speed that we can get doing this drill. Now if you look at my original video or my original Flightscope numbers, I was swinging about 114. I'm going to do a few reps of this and let's see if I can get above that 114 at all. Now if you may only be swinging 70 or 80 miles an hour, that's completely fine. These same drills, these same principles are going to help you to build your swing speed up to the high 70s or the high 80s. So it doesn't matter if you're swinging fairly slow or really fast, these same principles are going to apply to everybody. Here's what I want you to do. Again, we're trying to tackle that deceleration. And the first thing I find is if we can visualize releasing this club, or what I call the straight line release, this is the angle between the forearms and this club shaft. The first time that club splits my forearms, like it is here, would be what I call the full release. So as this club is lagging behind, now we can see the club heads, or the handles in front of my forearms. As I release this club and it's splitting my forearms, that's the point when I would say, okay, your club is fully released from there. Now, if I'm swinging at this golf ball, I want that to release to be out in front. That's what we call the straight line release in the top speed golf system. And if I can visualize that being out in front, now I have a point to where I can release everything toward. If I'm trying to release everything toward the golf ball, a lot of times I'm going to be slowing down. And if you're trying to hit at the golf ball, most times I'll see players go really far back, start to cast from the top, and then the club is decelerating as you're coming through here. One of the best drills that I've ever done for this, and I find works almost every single time, is what I call a 9 o'clock backswing to a full finish. So if I can look at the logo of my left glove or my left glove here, I don't want that to go past 9 o'clock on the backswing if we're looking at a clock face. So if the ball is 6 o'clock, this would be 9, 12 will be above my head. I don't want to go past 9 o'clock. And then from there, I'm going to swing as hard as I can through this, maximum club head speed, and let's see how fast I can get with a few of these. I want you to do one practice swing between every shot, and then if you have a device to measure your swing speed, that's fantastic. So I started at 114. I'm going to go ahead and do halfway back, Another tip here, feel like you stop your backswing right here. You're gonna find that when you look at that on camera or what you actually do, the swing is back there. And again, speed out to my straight line release point, speed out in front instead of at the golf ball. So let's do a little half backswing, full follow through, as much speed as I can get. All right, so not the best shot. I probably even went a little farther back than 9 o'clock if I'm realistic with myself. Let's see what my club head speed was here. So on that one, I'm obviously gonna get less club head speed with a half backswing. I got 105 miles an hour. Now it seems like you'd be saying, well, Clay, it doesn't sound like it's going in the right direction. We started at 114, we're at 105, but this actually is helping your club head speed because what it's forcing me to do is accelerate through the golf ball with this little short swing. It also, what I found helps you to do is when you have this shorter swing, now it makes a lot more sense to get that club to lag behind and then really whip it through there to get the speed rather than casting. You simply just don't have time to cast the club with this little short backswing. So let's go one more and I'm gonna see if I can swing a little faster than 105. No matter how good you do this drill, it's gonna be slower than your normal swing speed, but when you take it back to the full backswing, that's when you're gonna see the results. Let's go one more. I'm gonna try to break that 105. Again, I'm feeling like I'm just going back to right there and coming through as fast as I can. All right, I feel like I'm really putting a lot of energy into it. I can tell the ball's not going very far because it's cold today, but I bet that's probably around that 105. Yeah, 101.7, so about 102 on that one. So the goal of this is to, a few things. Get your body and club and arms, your full body to accelerate through the ball. That's number one. Number two, it's gonna make it a lot more comfortable for you to get lag because there's really just no time to cast this club. And number three, what you'll notice is your legs get a lot more engaged. As I start to make these swings, I'm really letting my legs bend and rotating on through there hard. That's the only way I feel like I can get club head speed when I'm doing these little short swings. Now let's take it all the way back to the full backswing again, and I think we'll be pretty happy with what the club head speed does. So here, I'm really gonna feel like I load way up. I'm gonna let my hips, my shoulders, my arms get way back here, really loosen those up, let them go far back, and I'm gonna feel like I really turn on the power late in the downswing. So I'm gonna get all the way down here and then turn on the power. Once I add this full backswing, my speed should go up a little bit. So let's see if I can break that 114 mark and what kind of distance we can get. There we go. Now I absolutely killed that ball. A couple things here why you're gonna see my club head speed be lower in general today, or my distance be lower in general today. We talked about one piece was the range ball. Whenever you're hitting a range ball, that's gonna be 5 miles an hour or so slower on your ball speed to 10 or 15 miles an hour slower. Just depends on how bad the range ball is. So I'm gonna lose a little bit of speed there. Number two, it's cold here today. So no matter how good I do on these drills or no matter how good you do, when it's cold out, it's about 40 to 50 degrees today. When it's cold out, you're never gonna be able to swing as fast or drive as far as when it's warm. That's gonna limit the amount the ball compresses also. And number three, the wind is in my face a little bit. Earlier when I hit that shot, the wind wasn't quite in my face. When I swung 114 and it went 265, now I've hit that ball pretty daggone good, 1.43 smash, probably a little too far off the toe. 116 club head speed, so my club head speed went farther, but I'm losing about 50 yards on my total drive today. Now that can be confusing to some guys. They'll come out on a cold weather day hitting range balls and say, man, I'm usually hitting it way farther than this. I must be doing something wrong in my swing, but it's actually not the case. Cut yourself some slack on cold days. You're gonna be a minimum of 30 to 40 yards shorter on a cold day, probably closer to 50 yards shorter on a really cold day if there's a little bit of wind in your face like that. So you have to take those into account whenever you're hitting golf balls. I'm swinging really good. 116, that's about as good as I'm gonna be able to do today. That's pretty daggone fast, faster than PGA Tour average, but it's still not gonna be as fast. If I would have done this on a hot day, I would have been 121, 122. So it's something to really keep in mind when you're out there practicing on your own. That one was a little bit off the toe. So let's go on to now, that's a great swing speed drill. Let's talk about what happens when we hit on different parts of the face and give you some drills for that. So what I'll do is I'll just spray up my club face here with this Dr. Scholl's Odor X You can get this on Amazon. It's $4 or $5 a can. That's gonna mark up my face really white here. And now, let's talk about what to do if you're hitting it off the toe or the heel. Now, when you're typically hitting it off the toe, the most common thing that I see are guys falling back in their swing. So as they make the swing, they kind of lean to the left and then fall back to the right, and then they're kind of not really being able to reach the golf ball, and just the toe of the club is barely being able to get to the golf ball. That's probably the most common thing that I see. Now, here's the important part of that, and what you've probably heard time and time again is I got to get my weight to my left. If you want to, quit from falling back, you have to get your weight left. It's actually the opposite of that. You have to get your weight to the right and then get your weight to the left. Think about a major league pitcher. You watch him up there on the mound. When he's throwing a pitch, those guys have no trouble getting to the left side. They're going down that hill. They're hitting, when they release the pitch, they're all the way up on their left foot. Where do they start though? When he winds up, he's completely on his right foot. So as he brings his left leg back, 100% of his weight's on his right foot. Then he's transferring that to the left foot and then coming all the way up 100% of the weight on his left foot. Now, we don't go that extreme in golf, but if you want to have some power and you want to hit the ball solid, the same thing should be happening. If I try to keep my weight left the whole time, what ends up happening is I end up falling left on my backswing. My body subconsciously knows, like, okay, I'm too far left, I've got to do something here, and you tend to go back the other way on your downswing. So an improper weight transfer would be left on the backswing, right on the downswing, you fall back, you hit on the toe, you lose some smash factor. The proper weight shift would be weight to my right in the backswing, shift weight like a baseball pitcher to the left on the downswing, and then I'm going to follow through all the way nice and balanced on my left leg. A great drill for this is just a little baseball step drill. I'm going to start with my normal stance. I'm going to scoot back away from this ball, and I'm going to pick up my foot on the backswing to transfer my weight right. And as I step forward, I'm going to come all the way through onto my front foot. Now, as I finish, I want to make sure I'm in balance. I'm having my left foot stay planted. I'm balanced over that. I should be able to pick up my right foot. My chest is nice and high. My shoulders are turned all the way around, and I can just kind of hold it here and pause and watch the ball fly down the fairway. What I don't want to see is me getting completely off balance. The first time you do this drill, you may find yourself kind of falling around and going all over the place. Get a little bit more in control. Take that little step and then work on completely being in balance in your follow through. Do a good 5 or 10 of these to get used to that weight transfer to the left. You're going to find your shots stop going as much on the toe and get more toward the center of the club. Let's go ahead and hit one here and see what I can do to get a good weight shift. There you go, pretty centered on that one, I'm guessing. Maybe a little bit low, just a hair on the toe. Now on this one, we'll show a close-up of this in a picture, but on this one, the ball is slightly off the toe. That's pretty daggone good if you're wanting to get the most ball speed out of it, the best smash factor. So I haven't seen here, remember 1.45 is about as good as I'm gonna do with these range balls. I'm guessing it's pretty close to that. I actually had one a little bit better. Maybe I got a hot range ball. I got a 1.46 on that one. So on that swing, 115 miles an hour club head speed, I hit the ball absolutely as solid as I could hit it. I got a little better than a perfect smash factor, 1.46. And my carry distance was 250, almost 50 yards shorter than that would be on a normal warm day. So again, I can't reiterate that too much. If it's cold outside, you're hitting a range ball, it's just not gonna go that far. So let's talk about the second piece on here where, what if I'm hitting off the toe, or the heel, excuse me. Or guys are coming up out of their posture. So when they start to make their downswing, their hips come up, their shoulders level out, and because my hips are getting closer to the ball, that pushes my arms out away from my body and I end up hitting more toward the heel side of this club. What you wanna do, and what you're most commonly told to do when you're solving this is to say, okay, well, keep your hips back. And I think that's really tough to do. The hips moving back, a lot of times I'll see guys when they try to do that, they try to move the hips back and then they just stand up and do the same thing over and over again. What I found to work a lot better is to keep the shoulders tilted. So as I'm making this backswing, if I can imagine a target line or the direction I'm hitting this golf ball, a line on the ground going toward my target in the distance. As I make my backswing, I want to stay in my posture here and have the club that's across my shoulders pointing down to that target line. as I rotate on through, I want to have my club kind of feeling like it stays pointing down to the target line as I'm coming on through. We don't have to get all the way that extreme. The shoulders could turn a little more level than that. But if we have that idea, that's really going to help me a lot to stay in my posture. If I can stay in my posture with my shoulders, notice how my hips naturally stay back. So what I found is if we can rotate in this posture, that solves the issue of my hips wanting to come this way. When our hips are moving toward the ball, what's happening here is I make my backswing and then my hips move and my shoulders level out. So if I do lose the posture, my shoulders level out and I'm turning level with the ground that way. It's almost impossible to stop hitting off the heel because that club just keeps on moving out there. So again, 10 to 15 drills or practice swings, letting that club stay in your posture. Do that a good 10 to 15 times. Make some practice swings doing that, and then spray your face up with some Dr. Scholl's. Let's see if we can get to keep that ball coming from the heel, hit it nice and solid, and stay in my posture while I'm doing that. There we go, another one. Tell you what, I need to go play today. I'm hitting about as good as I can hit it. That one was right dead center on the middle of the club face. Couldn't be much more center than that. That's got to be close to a 1.45 also within the ballpark. And that was a 1.45, 114.8 miles an hour, 256 total distance. And again, wind in our face, cold, range balls, that's about as good as I'm going to do. That's a normal 300-yard drive for me. So to recap on this, smash factor. The ideal smash factor is 1.5 times your club head speed. We want to maximize our club head speed, use that acceleration drill to get your swing speed up. The more you do that, you're going to pick up a mile an hour, and a few days later, you're going to pick up another mile an hour. It's really going to help you to build speed over time. Then we go into contact. I have to contact the ball on the correct part of the face. If I'm hitting off the toe, I'm probably falling back away from it. Work on those drills that I got you to transfer your weight to the left. If I'm hitting off the heel, I'm probably standing up and losing my posture. Make sure you do those posture drills. You guys are going to be getting the best smash factor. You're going to be cranking it out there past your playing partners. Best of luck to you. Smash that golf ball. Now we don't want to stop there. We talked a lot in this video about how to accelerate through the golf ball to get more club head speed, but a big piece of that we've touched on very briefly is lag. If I'm making these shorter swings, that's going to help me to get more lag, but I really want to make sure that I ingrain that lag, that I have it all the time. I don't even have to think about it, and I have a swing that just develops a lot of lag naturally. I have a great bonus video for you, one of my best videos on lag. It's going to go over one of the #1 problems I see with the wrist set and how to properly set the wrist in the backswing to get the most amount of lag we can get. If we can pair that up with what we talked about with the acceleration drill we did today, man, that's going to be an awesome 1-2 punch. You're going to get tons of speed, tons of lag, and be really cranking it out there. Remember, the #1 thing for distance is how fast you can swing that club head. So be sure to check out this bonus video. I'll play a preview here in a second. Click the card that pops up on your screen or the link down below in the description to get instant access. I'll see you in the lag video. Hi guys, and welcome back. I'm Ballard, and in today's video we're going to talk about one of the absolute worst drills for creating lag. It's a very common drill that I see. And in this drill, what we're going to do is we're going to set the wrist very early to create an angle of lag, and then we're going to try to hold this throughout the swing. It's one of the worst things that you can do to build lag. I'm going to talk about the science behind why this is the case, and I'm also going to give you a great drill to help you improve your lag, all in this video. Let's go ahead and get started. If I do it this way versus holding that position, exact same thing happens when we're building lag in the golf swing. So what we want to do is throughout the swing, I want to have a very low and wide takeaway. So I'm not going to set my wrist early at all. If you look at a lot of the top players, you look at Adam Scott, very wide takeaway, not very much wrist set at all. You look at Rory McIlroy, you look at Tiger Woods. All these players are using a wide takeaway and not getting very much wrist set, so that later in the swing, as we start down, we can increase this wrist set, and we're really only going to max out this angle of lag for a split second in the downswing. Okay, so a 3-step drill here. Now, as we get started with this, I want to remind you that the fulcrum in this golf club for getting a massive amount of lag is right at the end of the golf club. This is where I want my hinge point to be.